Hello there, my name is Victor Obaseki, and you're welcome to the midweek edition of Today in the News, and of course all of those newspapers across the Federation, and looking at the major headlines everywhere.
Over 1,000 people are benefiting from free medical services provided by the FCT chapter.
Some of the Arsenal fans will be very interested in this news. Arsenal's first club transfer record signed Pep.
Hello and welcome, and of course you're welcome to Today in the News on Vanguard Live. My name is Precious Chukudi, and I have with me my co-host
Damilola Obaseki.
Dami, how are you? You're looking really nice this morning.
I think you're trying to flatter me.
No, but really you look nice.
Thank you.
Alright, so the roads are free and not filled
No.
with so much traffic.
I didn't. Let me just say, when I was coming, I
Yeah.
didn't encounter any traffic. Nothing.
I was coming this morning
Very
and I
easy
was-
for me
yeah.
to get here.
I was coming this morning and I was just thinking to myself that if only Lagos road can be like this, like free, easy breezy.
Exactly.
You know, no traffic, no. Man,
I was coming this morning. I knew I was going to get here. Okay, like the next 30 minutes I'll be in the office, and exactly 30 minutes I'll be in the office. So it was like that. Not when you know that okay, I'm leaving. I'll get there in the next 2 hours. So it's better for me to leave now. No.
Alright, so without further much ado, let's move straight to the front pages of the newspaper, and we have a Vanguard. And major headlines, we have EDO governorship, Oshiomhole, Obaseki's men in fresh tussle over primaries. And we have the riders. APC headquarters has adopted direct primaries, Wambai, national vice chairman says. And Imuse and Azebawa, they are saying that Wambai can't speak for Edo. APC says Ojezua. Wambai is right, that's Imuse and Azebawa. And Ogidi says PDP's doors are open to Obaseki and others. And of course, we have the COVID-19 update. Lagos records 90 new cases as confirmed cases rise to 8,068. And still, Lagos has the highest number as the epicenter. And we have a photo story of elder statesman and Niger Delta leader Chief Edwin Kiagbodo Clark cutting his 93rd birthday cake in Abuja. He clocks 93. Wow. Funny part is this man is still very strong.
Very strong.
And so outspoken. And on page 7 of Vanguard, we have executive order, withhold legislature, judiciary cash, lose your allocation. Federal government warns governors. And on page 10, we have Lagos government may reopen schools if, says by the commissioner. And on page 8 and 9, we have how to rescue Nigeria from deep economic recession. Business leaders. The writer is divided on federal government optimism for mild recession. And lastly, on page 22, we have Adeshino. U.S. calls for probe plots to destabilize AFDB, says Bank's Ethics Committee. And from Vanguard, we move straight to The Nation.
And on the front page of The Nation, we have WHO, that's the World Health Organization, suspends COVID-19 chloroquine treatment trial. And of course, the writer, it says more people dying from use of drug, what to eat by agency. And you can see more of that on page 4. And also on the page 8, you can see INEC OK's electronic voting from 2021. Says no face masks, no voting in Edo and Ondo polls. And moving on to the stories above the nameplate, we have Igalo heads for Man United exits this week. permanent deal shaky. And you can see more of that on page 31. And on page 8, we have Lagos federal government working on schools reopening. States to hire 2,000 teachers. We have the gross development profit. Yes, GDP grew by 1.87% in first quarter, says the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics. Growth higher than 2019. And you can see more of that on page 25. And that is all we have on the front page of The Nation. And from there, we go straight to the Punch.
And on the Punch newspaper, we have major headlines. Federal government screening 19 Nigerians firm for COVID-19 drugs production. The riders, we have ministry ask companies to submit samples to NAFDAC. Coronavirus has spread to 16 of our 20 local governments, says Ogun. And of course, we have the image of a Magic Land Recreational Park, Millennium Park in Abuja. I remember when I went to this place, it was really fun. And we have Buhari, Oyetola, others more. New Telegraph, the editor Bakari on page 8. And we have Court Kingpin, another killed during Lagos supremacy clash. And we have Ondo Ocean Incursion project not by federal government, Akeredolu. And on the stories above, we have INEC plans to start electronic voting in 2021. And lastly, on the Punch, we have federal government evacuates 69 stranded trafficked Nigerians from Lebanon. And away from the Punch newspaper, we move straight to Daily Trust.
And on the front page of Daily Trust, we have COVID-19 self-medication worsening our problems. And the patients are the ones saying this. And it tells the writer, it says, my husband asked me to take chloroquine. Pharmacist, patient stalls making bricks business. Federal government health experts worry. And of course, you can see more of that on page 5. And moving on to the stories below, on page 10, we have Benue communities resume hostilities. How Gambari is faring in Aso Rock. And of course, on the stories above the nameplate, we have a WHO suspend chloroquine trial. Electronic voting starts 2021, and this is coming from INEC. The magic controversy of Kogi's COVID-19 wonder harm. You can see more of that on page 30, and that is all we have on Daily Trust. And from there, we'll move straight to this day.
And on this day newspaper, we have major headlines: 20 governor aspirants jostled to unseat Akeredolu Obaseki. INEC releases guidelines, adopts online operation. WHO suspends clinical trial of hydroxychloroquine over safety concerns. 229 new COVID-19 cases, increases Nigerians tally to 8,068. Senate NDDC bickers over alleged inflation of Commission's budget. And of course, we still have Edwin Clark, former Minister of Information, Chief Edwin Clark, during his 93rd birthday celebration at his residence in Asokoro, Abuja. There's a photo story of him. And the stories above, we have with 1.87% GDP growth, analysts seek investment-friendly policies. And that's all we have for you on the front pages of the newspaper. We're moving straight now to the newspaper analysis segment, but we're going to do that after this break. Remember that you can equally like, share, and subscribe on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. Of course, you can also create a watch party for people to see, join you also on our program. We'll be right back after this break.
Hello there, my name is Victor Obaseki, and you're welcome to the midweek edition of Today in the News, and of course all of those newspapers across the Federation, and looking at the major headlines everywhere.
Over 1,000 people are benefiting from free medical services provided by the FCT chapter.
Arsenal fans very interested in this news. Arsenal Spurs club transfer record signed Pep.
Welcome back, and if you're just joining us, of course, it's Today in the News, where we read and analyze as well as take top stories on the front pages of the newspaper and get you to know what's going on in the country and the world, of course. And my name is Precious Chukudi. I'm still with my co-host
Damilola Odushaki.
all right, so let's move straight into the analysis segment, and this is EDO governorship. Oshiomhole Obaseki's men in fresh tussle over primaries. So the national vice chairman, North Central of the All Progressive Congress (APC), that's Suleiman Wambai, he's saying that the direct primaries remains the best way to select APC's governorship candidate in Edo State to avoid a repeat of what happened in Zamfara State, where its candidates won election in 2019 and but were disqualified by the courts. And also the state chairman of the party, that's Mr. Anslem Ojezwa, said that Wambai is not in a position to speak on whether it will direct or indirect method that the party will adopt in Edo State. What story do you have for us, Dami?
Okay, I have this federal government 19 Nigerian firms for COVID-19 drugs, screening 19 Nigerian firms for COVID-19 drugs production, and that's according to reports. The Federal Ministry of Health screening 19 local firms for the production of herbal drugs that can possibly treat or cure COVID-19. And the firm, it was learned that many ranging from the output cure for COVID-19 to the treatment of the symptoms. But it was learned that 19 firms had met with the leadership of the ministry and the Department of Complementary and Alternative Medicine. And the firms have been asked to submit their samples to the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration, and that's NAFDAC. And also control, out of which 3 will be picked and recommended for funding.
All right, so let's take this one from Lagos government and saying that they may reopen schools if so let's find out what they're saying. So Lagos state government is saying that they are working out guidelines for reopening of schools, which their closure was caused by the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic. And also Lagos state government has hinted that they have plans to employ no fewer than 2,000 more teachers in its public primary school. Yesterday on Twitter, I remember there was like a poll of where they were asking students, would you like to go back to school? Some, you know how Twitter can be now.
Mm-hmm.
And some persons are saying that, see, if I go to that school like this, nothing in my head
again.
And then some students were like, of course they really miss coming to school because at least they get to meet their classmates, and some of them are like they have study groups, they miss their study groups and all those things. So it's just a good one to see that the government is trying to find ways on how we can get back to our normal lives while still trying to prevent ourselves from contracting the COVID-19 disease as well. So do you have any more stories for us too?
Yeah, on COVID-19, they are still on COVID-19. WHO suspends a chloroquine trial. The World Health Organization on Monday announced the suspension of clinical trials of hydroxychloroquine as a potential treatment for COVID-19. The Director General of WHO attributed the suspension to recent reports on the effects of the drug on the patients. And that's all I have on COVID-19. But in the business news, following the lower economic growth rate reported by the National Bureau of Statistics, that the NBS, for the first time, for the first quarter of the year, which confirms various projection of economic recession in 2020. The business leaders and economic analysts have called for policies that will stimulate massive investment in infrastructure, agriculture, tax incentives, and as well as immediate termination of lockdown measures, among others, as the measures needed to enhance the nation's exist from the impending recession. But the Minister of Finance, that's Zainab Ahmed, said that NBS has made an assessment that Nigeria will go into recession, but said that the federal government hopes to achieve a milder recession. Also, the Director General of Lagos Chamber of Commerce, that's LCCI, Muda Yusuf, he said there's no need, that there's a need to set the policy regulating environment to stimulate domestic and foreign investments. So that's all I have on that story.
All right, so let's take this one from the executive order. It was on the front pages of Vanguard yesterday, and we're talking of how we told the legislature, judiciary cash, lose your allocation. The federal government is warning our governors, and the federal government has warned that any state government that withholds funds meant for their respective House of Assemblies and judiciary would get their allocation deducted at the source of by the Accountant General of the Federation and remitted directly to the affected state organs. And people were talking about the fact that the governors have not said anything about this whole process, but some other persons, Mike Ozekome yesterday was saying that it's a good thing because at least this will checkmate the way funds are being spent, and all of those kind of things. So so do you have more stories for us?
Yeah, okay, I have just one more story, and that's INEC plans to start electronic voting in 2021. Based on this, when I saw this, I was like, a lot of people will actually be excited, to hear about this, because we've had people talking about it. That why can't we start electronic voting?
But do you think it's going to work in Nigeria?
Well, I don't know. But for INEC to say they want to start it, I think for them to start this, maybe they would have, they will have the means and the ways to make it work. Not, I don't know about that. So we can see different opinions on social media, with people tweeting that this can't work in Nigeria. Will people really be truthful with this, with the government?
Yeah, okay, considering, but when we were still talking of this electronic voting, how people I'm wondering how they want to do it. Is it going to be through phones, or is it going to be through emails, or because now if we're going to use through phones, like an average Nigerian most times will have like 2 phones. And stuff like that. So how do you monitor? How do you checkmate that people will not vote in excess, or people won't just go to
how many emails? Are you going to check how many emails a person have? How are you going to check how many SIMs a person is using? How are you going to check all those things and go through the data to make sure they don't vote twice? And how sure are you that they won't hack some of these electronic devices? But I think INEC knows the best. But they said it will engage with the National Assembly and other stakeholders to explore ways of responding to the rising cost of conducting frequent by-elections in Nigeria. And talking about this 2020 voting in 2021, they said that they'll make sure that it comes as soon as possible, but that excludes Edo and Udo voting.
Okay, so let's take some few comments on our page, and this is from let's see. So this is from Oyibo Sylvester. He says APC primary election in Edo is so interesting, and this is from, let's see this one. This is from Okpe Francis Ona. He says Obaseki will retire Oshiomhole from politics soon. And this is from Salamita Ofikolawale. He says Obaseki should try his best to retire that man, and he should go for second tenure. Well, if you want to read more on what's happening in Edo State, you can equally get a copy of the Vanguard newspaper to get more on what's happening in Edo State.
Are you sent some
and
comments that with people saying we don't have COVID-19 in Nigeria?
yeah, like the point is that I don't know what to say. We've seen people who have come out on TV, saying that yes, there's COVID-19 in Nigeria, and even with the fact that the late chief of staff died as a result of COVID-19. Yeah, so like I still find it hard to believe that people still feel like there is no COVID-19, and somehow you cannot still blame them because some people feel like it's an inflated result, but really, I mean, there is COVID-19 in Nigeria. We've seen people who have died of those things. We've seen people who have been, taken to the hospitals and all of that. And with the increase in number of cases, it's just a function of protect yourself.
That is just my own is everybody you're all entitled to your opinions, but the main thing is protect yourself. Even if you don't believe it, use the face masks and follow the regular.
Yes, we've seen people who have said
measures.
there's no COVID-19 actually contracts the virus.
Yes.
So you just need to be very careful of what you say and how you respond to it. That's what's very, very
if you don't
important.
You can believe and you can choose not to believe, but just know that that's better for you to stay safe, protect yourself and follow the safety measures. That's the best thing.
All right,
so that you won't confirm it in the hard way. You won't you won't make sure that it is in the hard way.
All right, so we'll just go ahead and then take our Mr. and Mrs. And so let's see who is talking today. Mrs. seems to be the one having the conversation, and she says, "Why did you say it's my fault? You can't go out without face mask. What about the ones the laundryman brought?" And Mr. says, "What's so special in washing face masks that you have to give them to the laundryman? Now the ones he brought." Were heavily starched. Well, talking about face masks, I realized that some of the face masks that are being produced are really too thick.
Very, very thick.
Like, you can't wear them for long. You can't even breathe in them. So even with all the guidelines and everything that NCDC has given for people to be able to produce their own face masks, people are just going ahead. I will see some people even doing like customized face masks where they have like a bit of like crown iron on it. I'm like, what is this? You're supposed to
No, but talking about this face masks that are thick, if you notice something, when people use it and you can't breathe for long, you have to touch it, so drag it down.
No.
And when you bring it down, you're supposed to sanitize your hand for that. But you see people still go about with the normal daily business without, checking it out, drag it down, pull it up, drag it down, put it up.
But the most important thing is that whatever you're going to wear should be convenient for you to breathe.
Exactly.
Not that you're going to be wearing for a long time and then you'll be, gasping for air.
And
it's
if you
really
want to bring
important.
it out, make sure when you're through, you sanitize your hand and make sure that face mask is there for a reason, not just for you to put it down. It's not just for fashion.
Exactly. So thank you for joining us on Today in the News, and if you want to get more of our top stories and read some other interesting stories, you can equally go straight on our website at www.vanguardngl.com, and also follow our social media pages, and you can also create a watch party whenever you're also streaming, and drop your comments. They're really, really important to us as we would like to take them during the course of the program. My name is Precious Chukwudi, and I'll be with my co-host
Daniel.
Remember to stay clean, stay safe, and stay hydrated, and also ensure that you protect yourself, because if you protect yourself, you stand the risk of getting COVID-19 and also protecting other people around you. Till we come your way next time on this program. Thank you for watching.
Hello there, my name is Victor Obaseki, and you're welcome to the midweek edition of Today in the News, and of course all of those newspapers across the Federation, and looking at the major headlines everywhere.
Over 1,000 people are benefiting from free medical services